The blue light of Earth's atmosphere burned bright against the darkness of space. 6 massive ships appeared at the edge of the solar system. They moved slowly, their surfaces smooth and gray like polished stone. These were the scout vessels of the Valstrian Empire, conquerors of 300 worlds. Commander Alan Grant stood at the observation deck of Mars Outpost 7. His heart beat fast as the message came through his earpiece. The aliens had requested direct contact. After decades of searching the stars for other life, humanity would no longer be alone in the universe. "Commander, are you sure about this?" asked Lieutenant Susan Rogers. Her fingers moved quickly across her tablet, analyzing the incoming signal patterns from the alien ships. Alan nodded. "Someone has to be first. Might as well be me." The small shuttle carried Alan through the thin Martian atmosphere toward the meeting point. A circular ship, smaller than the others, waited for him above the red planet. Alan felt sweat on his palms inside his spacesuit gloves as his shuttle docked with the alien vessel. The door slid open. Alan stepped into a room with walls that glowed soft green. The air smelled like cinnamon and metal. 3 tall figures waited for him. They had 6-fingered hands and skin that looked like blue marble with swirls of white. Their eyes were large and black, with no visible pupils. "I'm Commander Alan Grant of Earth," he said, removing his helmet slowly. "I represent humanity and peace." The tallest alien stepped forward. "I am Ambassador Kirzoth of the Valstrian Empire. We have come to evaluate your species." Alan kept his face calm, though the word evaluate sent a chill through him. "We welcome cultural exchange. There is much we can learn from each other." Kirzoth's head tilted slightly. "Yes, we will observe your kind for 30 of your Earth days. This is our standard protocol." Back on the Mars base, Susan Rogers watched the meeting through Alan's camera feed. While everyone else focused on the conversation, Susan noticed something strange in the background signal. The aliens were broadcasting on multiple frequencies at once. She began to isolate the patterns, testing different approaches to understand their communication system. "What are you doing, Lieutenant?" asked a voice behind her. Susan turned to see Dr. Olivia Jones, the mission anthropologist. "Their communication isn't just verbal. They're using at least 3 different signal types simultaneously." Olivia leaned closer. "Can you break it down?" "I think so," Susan said. Her fingers danced across the keyboard. "It's complex, but not impossible." Meanwhile, Alan toured the alien ship with Kirzoth. The ambassador showed him their navigation systems and explained how they traveled through space using something they called fold technology. "Your species has achieved much in a short time," Kirzoth said. "Most life forms take twice as long to reach your level." Alan smiled. "We're curious by nature. It drives us to learn quickly." "Curiosity can be dangerous," Kirzoth replied. Back on Earth, governments around the world received news of the alien arrival. In an emergency United Nations session, world leaders watched footage of Commander Grant's meeting. "They say they come in peace, but their ships are clearly built for war," said General Paul Martinez, pointing to the weapon systems visible on the alien vessels. "We should prepare for the worst while hoping for the best," agreed President Laura Hayes. "I want our best scientists working with their international counterparts. We need to understand this fold technology they mentioned." 5 days later, Susan Rogers made a breakthrough. "I can access their communication network," she told Alan. "Not everything, but enough to monitor their internal messages." "Is that ethical?" Alan asked, frowning. "They're studying us," Susan replied. "I think it's fair we learn about them too." That night, Susan intercepted a private message from Kirzoth to the Valstrian Central Command. "Humans show unusual adaptability. Their technology is primitive, but advancing at a concerning rate. Most troubling is their decentralized structure. They make decisions without unified control, yet somehow maintain effective coordination. Recommend careful assessment." The response came hours later. "Assessment will continue as planned. 25 days remain. Prepare full report on threat potential." Susan shared this with Alan and Olivia. Threat potential, Alan said. They're deciding whether we're dangerous, or whether we're easy to conquer, Olivia suggested. Her eyes narrowed. They've done this before. This isn't first contact for them. It's a standard procedure. The next day, Kurzoth requested permission to send a research team to Earth. We wish to understand human culture better, the ambassador explained. World leaders cautiously agreed, but with limits. The aliens could visit public places only with human guides at all times. The Valstrian research team arrived in New York City, led by a scientist named Tevlan, who had studied 17 other alien species. Olivia Jones was assigned as their primary guide. She watched how Tevlan reacted to human art, music, and especially history. The alien seemed most disturbed by human warfare. You fight among yourselves, yet you progress, Tevlan said as they walked through a museum. Most species self-destruct when they reach this technological stage combined with your level of aggression. We're complicated, Olivia replied. We can be both cruel and kind. That evening, Tevlan sent a message that Susan intercepted. These humans are paradoxical. They create beautiful art while developing weapons. They fight constant wars yet cooperate on massive projects. Their history is filled with violence, but also with incredible acts of mercy. Standard assessment protocols may be insufficient. As the first week of alien observation ended, Major Frank Russell of Military Intelligence made a disturbing discovery. By analyzing the Valstrian ship designs and comparing them to astronomical data, he found evidence that the aliens had visited dozens of star systems with potentially habitable planets. In each case, communication from those systems had mysteriously stopped after the Valstrian visits. Frank brought this information to Alan and Susan. I think they're not just observers, he said. They're conquerors looking for their next target. Susan nodded. And according to their communications, we have just 23 more days before they make their decision about us. Alan looked out the window at the red Martian landscape. Above, the massive Valstrian ships hung in orbit like silent predators. Then we have 23 days to prepare, he said, to show them either that we're not worth the trouble, or that we're too dangerous to attack. Across Earth, humanity began to mobilize quietly, sharing information and preparing for what might come. For the first time in history, all nations worked together against a possible common threat. The Valstrian Empire had seen many worlds and conquered them all, but they had never encountered humanity before, and they had no idea what humans could do when their survival was at stake. The second week of the Valstrian assessment began with more alien visitors arriving on Earth. Their lead scientist, Tevlan, brought a team of 12 researchers. They spread across different cities to study human behavior. Dr. Olivia Jones watched them closely, noticing how confused they seemed by human actions. Your children play games about war, Tevlan said as they walked past a playground where kids played capture the flag. They practice strategy from such a young age. Olivia smiled. Children play all kinds of games. It's how they learn about the world. But why teach conflict? Tevlan asked. His large black eyes blinked slowly. We don't teach it directly. They explore it naturally, Olivia said. She decided not to explain how human history was shaped by conflict. Instead, she guided the aliens toward a music festival happening nearby. I think you'll enjoy this more. Meanwhile, Susan Rogers continued to break into more Valstrian communications. She worked day and night, sleeping only a few hours at a time. Her small office at Mars Outpost 7 was filled with empty coffee cups and energy bar wrappers. You need rest, Commander Alan Grant told her. Susan shook her head. Not yet. I think I found something. She pointed to her screen where strange symbols flashed. This is from their main ship. It's heavily encrypted, but I think it's their assessment criteria. Alan looked at the alien symbols. Can you translate it? Working on it, Susan said. Her eyes were red from lack of sleep. But I can tell one thing already. They're scared. Scared? Of us? Alan found that hard to believe. The Valstrian ships were enormous compared to anything humans had built. Their technology was far beyond Earth's capabilities. Not of our weapons, Susan explained. They're worried about how fast we learn. Back on Earth, Major Frank Russell gathered intelligence from around the world. Reports came in about the Valstrian researchers taking interest in unusual things. Old war museums, chess tournaments, emergency response drills, even children's video games. Frank met with Olivia at a small cafe in Washington, D.C. They sat in a corner booth away from windows. They're studying how we handle problems, he said quietly. Not just our technology, but how we think. Olivia nodded. Tevlon spent 3 hours yesterday watching a high school debate team. He seemed fascinated by how the students argued both sides of an issue. Can we use this? Frank asked. If they're assessing us, can we control what they see? A small smile appeared on Olivia's face. I've already started. The next day, Olivia took Tevlon to a disaster response exercise. Emergency workers practiced rescuing people after a simulated earthquake. The alien watched in silence as humans worked together, improvising solutions with limited supplies. Your kind helps strangers, Tevlon said, even at risk to yourselves. It's who we are, Olivia replied. What she didn't mention was that she had arranged for this exercise to happen during the Valstrian visit. She wanted them to see humanity's compassion alongside their strength. On Mars, Susan finally broke through the encryption. Alan, look at this, she called. Commander Grant rushed to her side as she displayed the translated document on screen. Species, Assessment Protocol, Alan read aloud. Criteria for Conquest Determination. His face grew pale as he read further. They've done this to hundreds of worlds. Susan pointed to a specific section. Look at their categories. They rank species by threat level, usefulness as slaves, and resource value of their planets. What's this part? Alan asked, pointing to another section with flashing red symbols. That's new, Susan said. They added it after meeting us. It translates roughly to unpredictability factor. We're scoring higher than any species they've encountered before. Commander Grant immediately sent this information to Earth. Within hours, a secure video conference began with military and scientific leaders from around the world. They'll make their decision in 2 more weeks, General Martinez said. We need to be ready for either outcome. What are our options? President Hayes asked. Dr. William Carter, the lead scientist for reverse engineering alien technology, spoke up. We've made progress understanding their shield systems. If we have to fight, we might have a chance. But should we show them what we've learned? Another official asked. Or keep it hidden? The debate continued for hours. Finally, they decided on a 2-part strategy. Continue to impress the Valstrians with human adaptability and compassion, while secretly preparing defenses in case they decided to attack. The next day, Olivia guided Tevlon and 3 other aliens to a hospital where doctors were performing a new type of surgery. This procedure didn't exist 6 months ago, she explained. Our medical knowledge doubles every few years. Tevlon's blue-white skin seemed to pale. How can you advance so quickly? We share information freely, Olivia said. When one human learns something, they teach others. That evening, Susan intercepted another message from Tevlon to the Valstrian command. These humans operate unlike any species we have studied. Their lack of central control should make them weak, yet it creates strength. Each human acts with individual purpose while still supporting their group. They adapt faster than our models predicted possible. Recommend extending assessment period for further study. The response came quickly. Assessment period remains 30 days. Standard protocols will be followed. On the 15th day, something unexpected happened. A group of Valstrian officers requested to observe a military training exercise. General Martinez carefully selected what they would see. Not Earth's most advanced weapons, but rather a demonstration of small unit tactics where soldiers had to solve problems with limited resources. The alien observers watched as human soldiers built bridges from fallen trees, created communications using mirrors and sunlight, and set up complex ambushes with simple materials. They don't fight like we do, one Valstrian officer said to another in their own language. Neither realized that Susan had taught human translators to understand their speech. "They fight like wild animals," the second officer replied. "Unpredictable. Dangerous." That night, Major Frank Russell received reports about unusual activity among the Valstrian ships. "They're talking to each other more than usual," he told Commander Grant over a secure line. "Something's happening." Alan looked at the newest data from Susan. "Their command is split. Some want to leave us alone. Others think we're too dangerous to ignore." "Which side is winning?" Frank asked. Alan's face was grim. "The ones who are afraid of us." As the second week of assessment ended, tensions grew. Humans around the world watched the sky, wondering what the aliens were thinking. In their homes and schools and workplaces, people continued their lives while governments secretly prepared for the worst. And in orbit above Earth, the Valstrian Empire continued to watch, continued to learn, and continued to worry about what they were seeing. The third week began with a strange quiet. The Valstrian researchers stopped their public visits. Their ships remained in orbit, silent and still. Humans around the world looked up at the night sky with worry in their hearts. "What are they doing?" President Hayes asked during an emergency meeting. Nicole Patel, a communications specialist who had been working with Susan Rogers, stood up. "They're arguing," she said. "I've been monitoring their transmissions. Their leadership is split on what to do about us." Nicole displayed translated messages on the large screen. "The military faction, led by Fleet Commander Drezikor, wants to attack now. He believes we are too unpredictable and will eventually become a threat to their empire." She switched to another message. "But the scientific team led by Tevlan thinks we could be valuable. They've never seen a species learn as quickly as we do." General Martinez frowned. "So our fate depends on which side wins their argument?" "It seems that way," Nicole replied. "They have a council of leaders who will vote in 1 week." The room fell silent as everyone considered what this meant. Then Dr. William Carter spoke up. "We need to show them more of what humans can do." "Like what?" someone asked. "Like this," Dr. Carter said. He placed a small device on the table. It looked like a silver disc about the size of a coin. "We've replicated part of their shield technology. Not perfectly, but it works." Everyone stared in shock. The Valstrians had never shared this technology. They didn't know humans had been studying it. "How did you do that so quickly?" President Hayes asked. "We shared information," Dr. Carter explained. "Scientists from 27 countries worked together. When one team hit a roadblock, another found a solution. We did in 3 weeks what might have taken years working alone." President Hayes nodded slowly. "Can we use this to defend ourselves?" "Not yet," Dr. Carter admitted. "It's just a prototype, but it shows what we can do." After the meeting, a young military officer named Danny Garcia approached General Martinez. Danny was only 25 years old but had a reputation for unusual thinking. "Sir, I have an idea," Danny said. "Something the aliens wouldn't expect." General Martinez raised an eyebrow. "I'm listening." Danny explained his plan. It was strange and risky, but it might work. The general's frown turned into a slight smile as he listened. "That's either brilliant or crazy," the general said when Danny finished. "Maybe both. Let's develop it further." Meanwhile, Commander Alan Grant received a surprising message. Ambassador Kurzoth requested a private meeting on Mars. "It could be a trap," Susan warned. "Or an opportunity," Alan replied. "I have to try." The meeting took place in a small room at Mars Outpost 7. Kurzoth arrived alone, which was unusual for such an important Valstrian. "Commander Grant," the alien said, "I speak to you unofficially." Alan nodded. "I understand. Your species has caused great debate among my people," Kurzoth continued. "Some believe you must be conquered before you grow too powerful. Others believe this would be a mistake." "And what do you believe?" Alan asked. Kurzoth's black eyes seemed to look through Alan. "I believe that any species that can create so much in such a short time deserves respect." "We don't want war," Alan said. "We want to learn and grow. That is what concerns my people, Kurzoth replied. How quickly you grow. In 200 years, you went from simple machines to space travel. We took 800 years to achieve the same progress. The ambassador leaned closer. Fleet Commander Drezkor has requested immediate military action. The vote will happen in 6 days. Alan felt cold. Why are you telling me this? Because, Kurzoth said quietly, I have lived long enough to recognize a mistake before it happens. When Alan reported this conversation to Earth, the response was immediate. Every nation increased their preparations. Military forces moved to defensive positions. Scientists worked day and night on weapons and shields based on Valstrian technology, Dr. Olivia Jones reached out to Tevlan, requesting one final cultural exchange. To her surprise, the alien scientist agreed. They met at a small elementary school in Boston. Children were having an art class, drawing pictures with bright colors. Why did you bring me here? Tevlan asked. Because I want you to see how we teach our young, Olivia replied. You are concerned about our war games, but this is also part of being human. They watched as a teacher helped the children create art. Some drew families, others animals or spaceships. One little girl had drawn the Valstrian ships in the sky with humans waving up at them. She sees you as friends, Olivia said. Tevlan was quiet for a long time. Finally, he spoke in a low voice. I have studied 17 species before yours. None were like humanity. You fight wars yet create beauty. You compete yet cooperate. You are divided yet united. That's what makes us human, Olivia said. It makes you dangerous, Tevlan replied, but also fascinating. As Tevlan left Earth for the last time, Nicole Patel intercepted a new message from Fleet Commander Drezkor to his battle captains. Prepare weapon systems. If the vote favors action, we will strike immediately. Target communication centers and military bases first. The message confirmed what humans had feared. The Empire was preparing for war. With 5 days left before the vote, Earth's leaders made a bold decision. They would reveal what they knew. Commander Alan Grant contacted Ambassador Kurzoth. We need to speak with your full council, he said. That is not our protocol, Kurzoth replied. Neither is what we're about to show you, Alan said. A meeting was arranged. Using the communication systems on Mars Outpost 7, Alan addressed the Valstrian Leadership Council. 12 alien faces appeared on screens before him. Honorable leaders of the Valstrian Empire, Alan began. We know you are assessing us for possible conquest. We know you have done this to hundreds of other worlds. The aliens stirred, clearly surprised that humans knew this. We also know you're divided on what to do about Earth, Alan continued. So let me save you some time. He nodded to someone off-screen. Dr. William Carter stepped forward holding the shield device. This is based on your technology, he said. We built it in 3 weeks by studying the energy patterns from your ships. He activated the device. A small blue field appeared around his hand. This is just the beginning, Alan said. We've learned more about your systems every day. If you choose peace, we offer friendship and exchange. If you choose war... He paused. Well, humans have always been good at war. The council erupted in alien voices, some angry, some alarmed. Fleet Commander Drezkor shouted something that the translators couldn't catch. Finally, the head of the council raised a 6-fingered hand for silence. You have given us much to consider, Commander Grant. Our vote will proceed as scheduled. A transmission ended. Alan looked at Susan and the others. Now we wait, he said. Around Earth, humans looked to the stars and prepared for whatever might come. In 5 days, they would learn if they had earned the respect of the Empire, or if they would have to fight for their survival. The 5 days before the Valstrian vote passed in tense silence. No messages came from the alien ships. They hung in Earth's orbit, dark and quiet like giant metal clouds. People around the world waited, going about their daily lives while knowing everything could change in an instant. On the morning of the vote, Nicole Patel burst into the command center where Earth's leaders had gathered. Her face was pale. "They've decided," she said, holding up her tablet. "Fleet Commander Drezkor won the argument. They're preparing to attack." President Hayes looked at General Martinez. "How long do we have?" "Minutes, maybe," Nicole replied, before the general could speak. "Their ships are powering up weapons systems now." "Send the signal," General Martinez ordered. Around the world, a single command flashed to military bases and civilian centers. "Activate Protocol Shield." In the 3 weeks since the Valstrians had arrived, humanity had prepared. Dr. William Carter's team had installed shield generators at key locations around the globe. They weren't perfect copies of alien technology, but they might buy time. Admiral Laura Bennett, commander of Earth's combined space fleet, sent a message to all ships. "Operation Surprise begins now. All vessels to battle positions." The Valstrians struck first. Their massive ships fired energy beams at Earth's major military installations and communication centers, but instead of destruction, they met resistance. The makeshift shields flickered, but held. Fleet Commander Drezkor watched from his command ship. "Impossible," he said as the reports came in. "They shouldn't have this technology." "Sir," one of his officers said, "we're detecting movement in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter." On his screen, Drezkor saw what looked like hundreds of small objects moving toward his fleet. Earth had hidden its ships among the asteroids, waiting for this moment. It was Danny Garcia's plan. Use the rocks of space as cover until the last possible moment. Admiral Bennett's voice came over. "The communication system of every Earth ship. Remember your training. They have better technology, but we have surprise in numbers. Attack pattern Delta." The Earth ships emerged from hiding, moving in formations that confused the Valstrian targeting systems. They were smaller than the alien vessels, but much more numerous. And they flew in ways the Valstrians had never seen before, unpredictable patterns that made them hard to hit. On Earth, civilian engineer Kevin Dawson led a team working to keep power systems online. When the aliens knocked out the main power grid in North America, Kevin's team activated backup systems they had prepared. "They thought we'd go dark," Kevin said to his team as they worked. "They thought wrong." The Valstrians were shocked when Earth's communications stayed active. Humans continued to coordinate their defense even as the attack intensified. In space, Earth ships swarmed around the larger Valstrian vessels. They couldn't penetrate the alien shields with their weapons, but that wasn't their goal. Commander Elizabeth Hart led a special team on a small, fast ship that approached the smallest Valstrian vessel. "Ready boarding party," Elizabeth ordered. Her team wore spacesuits with magnetic boots. "Remember, we need their ship intact." Using the confusion of the battle as cover, Elizabeth's ship attached to the Valstrian vessel. Her team cut through the hull and entered the alien ship. The Valstrians on board fought back, but they weren't prepared for direct combat. They had conquered worlds from a distance for so long that they had forgotten how to fight up close. Elizabeth's team captured the bridge. "We've done it," she reported back to Admiral Bennett. "We have control of one of their ships." This news spread quickly through Earth's forces, raising morale and inspiring more bold tactics. If one alien ship could be taken, others could too. Fleet. Commander Drezkor received the news with disbelief. "How could they board one of our vessels? Their technology is primitive." "Sir," his second-in-command said, "they're adapting to our weapons. Each attack seems less effective than the last." "Impossible," Drezkor said again, but with less conviction this time. On Mars, Commander Alan Grant worked with Susan Rogers to hack deeper into the Valstrian communication systems. If they could disrupt the aliens' ability to coordinate, it would give Earth's forces an edge. "I found a pattern in their command signals," Susan said. "If we broadcast on this frequency, we might be able to jam their communications." Alan looked at the data. "Do it," he ordered. Across the solar system, Valstrian ships suddenly lost contact with each other. Their coordinated attack fell into chaos as individual captains tried to make decisions without guidance from their command. Back. On the captured Valstrian ship, Dr. William Carter worked with Elizabeth's team to understand the alien technology. Their systems are more advanced, but the principles are similar to ours, he explained. With time, we can learn to use all of it. The battle continued for hours. Earth suffered damage to cities and military bases, but far less than the Valstrians had planned. The alien empire had expected an easy conquest against a primitive species. Instead, they found themselves fighting a prepared and determined enemy who refused to surrender. As the first day of battle ended, Fleet Commander Drez Kor called his remaining captains together. "We must regroup," he said. "This species fights like none we have encountered before." One of his captains, a veteran of many conquests, spoke up. "Perhaps Ambassador Kurzoth and the scientists were right. Perhaps these humans should have been approached differently." Drez Kor glared at the captain. "We do not retreat. We will adjust our strategy and attack again tomorrow. They may have surprised us once, but they will not do so again." That night, as both sides prepared for the next day's battle, Tevlan sent a private message to Dr. Olivia Jones. "I warned the council that humans were different," he wrote. "I told them you would not be conquered easily." Drez Kor did not listen. Olivia read the message twice before responding. "Is there any way to end this without more destruction?" "Drez Kor will not stop," Tevlan replied. "But there are others in the Empire who see the error in this attack. If humans can demonstrate enough strength, the Council might reconsider." Olivia shared this information with Earth's leaders. "We need one more big surprise," General Martinez said. "Something that will show them we're not worth the cost of conquering." President Hayes looked around the room at the tired but determined faces. "Any ideas?" Captain John Miller, a young officer who had been quietly listening, spoke up. "I think I have one, Madam President, but it's risky." At this point, President Hayes said, "I'm open to risky ideas." As John explained his plan, a small smile appeared on the president's face. It was dangerous and bold, and very human. The kind of unpredictable move that the Valstrian Empire would never see coming. Captain John Miller's plan was simple but daring. The Valstrians had gathered most of their fleet near Jupiter for their next attack. Earth's forces were outnumbered and outgunned in a direct fight, but John didn't plan on fighting fair. "The asteroid belt gives us an advantage," John explained to Admiral Bennett. "I need 20 small, fast ships and volunteers who aren't afraid of risk." The Admiral looked at the young captain. "You'll be heavily outnumbered." John nodded. "That's the point. They won't see us as a real threat until it's too late." Within hours, John's team launched from Earth. 20 ships, each with a crew of only 3 people, headed toward the asteroid belt. They carried special equipment designed by Dr. William Carter, based on what they had learned from the captured Valstrian vessel. Meanwhile, Fleet Commander Drez Kor prepared his forces for a final, overwhelming attack. "We will strike all their major cities at once," he told his captains. "They cannot defend everywhere." One of his officers reported, "Sir, we detect a small group of Earth ships entering the asteroid belt." Drez Kor dismissed the report with a wave of his 6-fingered hand, a desperate move. "Ignore them, focus on our main attack." This was exactly what John Miller had hoped for. His small fleet moved through the asteroid belt, attaching devices to the largest rocks they could find. These devices were based on the Valstrian's own fold technology modified by Dr. Carter's team. "All ships report in," John called over the radio. One by one, his captains confirmed they had placed their devices. Activating in 3, 2, 1, John pressed a button on his control panel. Across the asteroid belt, the devices powered up. They didn't move the asteroids themselves. That would take too much energy. Instead, they created small fold space pockets that altered the asteroids, trajectories just enough. Slowly at first, then faster, dozens of massive asteroids began moving toward the gathered Valstrian fleet. It wasn't a weapon in the traditional sense. It was a trap using space itself. On the Valstrian command ship, alarms began to sound. "Sir," an officer called to Drez Kor, "multiple objects approaching from the asteroid belt." Drez Kor looked at his screens in disbelief. "How are they doing this? Evasive maneuvers?" but his fleet was too large and too clustered together to move quickly. The first asteroid struck several ships, damaging their engines and weapon systems. More followed, creating chaos in the once orderly fleet. John's small ships darted between the asteroids, using them as shields while targeting the Valstrians' communication arrays. Without the ability to coordinate, the alien fleet fell into further disorder. Back on Earth, Nicole Patel monitored the Valstrians' emergency transmissions. "It's working," she told President Hayes. "Their fleet is scattered." "Send the message," the president ordered. Admiral Bennett's voice broadcast on all frequencies, using the Valstrians' own communication systems that Susan Rogers had hacked. "This is Earth. You have seen a small demonstration of what we can do. We don't want to destroy you, but we will defend ourselves. Retreat now or face the full force of humanity." In truth, Earth had used almost every trick it had. The shield technology was still experimental. The captured ship was damaged. John Miller's asteroid gambit had used resources that couldn't be quickly replaced, but the Valstrians didn't know that. What they saw was a species that had adapted to their technology in weeks, had found weaknesses in their strategies, and had turned the very rocks of space into weapons. A species that should have surrendered immediately had instead fought back in ways the Empire had never encountered. On his damaged flagship, Fleet Commander Drezkor received an urgent message from the Valstrian Council. He read it with growing anger, but finally gave the order. "All ships cease attack. Withdraw beyond this system's outer planets." As the Valstrian ships retreated, a cheer went up from every human monitoring station. John Miller's team made their way back to Earth, tired but successful. Their plan had worked better than anyone had hoped. 3 days later, Ambassador Kirzoth requested a meeting with Earth's leaders. It took place on a neutral location, the International Space Station, orbiting Earth. President Hayes led the human delegation. "The Valstrian Empire has made a decision," Kirzoth announced formally. "Earth and its solar system will be classified as a restricted zone. No further military action will be taken against your world." "Is this peace?" President Hayes asked. "Is recognition," Kirzoth replied. "In 300 conquests, no species has ever fought back so effectively. Many on our council now believe that attacking Earth would cost more than any benefit we might gain." Dr. Olivia Jones, who was part of the Earth delegation, noticed something in the ambassador's voice. "You're afraid of us," she said quietly. Kirzoth's black eyes met hers. "We are cautious," he corrected. "Your species develops too quickly, you adapt too readily. You find solutions where others see only problems." "That's what humans do," Olivia said. "We don't give up." Later that day, Nicole Patel intercepted the final order sent to all Valstrian ships. She translated the message for Earth's leaders. By order of the Imperial Council, the star system containing planet Earth is now designated Threat Zone Alpha. All Imperial vessels are forbidden from entering this system. Humans have demonstrated evolutionary patterns unlike any previously encountered species. They adapt to threats at an unprecedented rate and show unusual creativity in combat situations. Most concerning, they appear to grow stronger through conflict, rather than being weakened by it. The message ended with a warning. "The Empire will monitor Earth from a safe distance. If humans develop interstellar travel capabilities, immediate notification to the Council is required. This species must be contained to their home system for the safety of the Empire." When Commander Alan Grant read this translation, he couldn't help but smile. "They're quarantining us," he said. "They think we're dangerous. Aren't we?" Susan Rogers asked. "To an empire that conquers peaceful worlds?" "Yes," Alan replied. "And that's not a bad thing to be." In the weeks that followed, Earth began to recover from the battle. The captured Valstrian ship was studied carefully, revealing secrets of fold space technology that would eventually allow humans to travel beyond their solar system. The shield technology Dr. Carter developed was improved and expanded. 1 month after the Valstrians retreated, the United Nations created a new agency called the Earth Defense Force. Its mission was to protect the planet from any future threats, and to prepare humanity for its next step into the stars. On a clear night, Dr. Olivia Jones stood outside her home looking up at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Valstrian Empire was watching, keeping their distance. They had seen all of humanity, our creativity, our determination, our refusal to surrender, and they had realized they were doomed if they tried to conquer, so Olivia smiled at the thought. Humans had faced their first interstellar threat and survived. More than survived, they had earned respect. And now the stars seemed closer than ever before.